The Road That Shouldn't Be There. 1968. Zoologist and pilot J. Manson Valentine is flying low over the Bahamas when he spots something beneath the turquoise water. 18 feet down, a perfectly straight line of rectangular stones stretching over 2,000 feet. Each block aligned with geometric precision. It looks like a road, or maybe a harder wall, submerged and forgotten. The discovery ignited immediate controversy. Why? Because Edgar Cayce, the famous psychic, had predicted in 1938 that Atlantis would be discovered near Bimini in 1968 or 1969. Prophecy or coincidence? Valentine, alongside archaeologist William Donato and divers, began underwater surveys. The formation, dubbed the Bimini Road, has been studied and debated for over 50 years. The formation stretches approximately 2,000 feet in a J-shaped curve. Limestone blocks, mostly rectangular, measuring 6 to 13 feet per side. They rest 15 to 18 feet below current sea level. Some blocks show evidence of tool marks and right-angle cuts. Proponents identify prop stones, small rocks wedged beneath larger blocks, suggesting artificial leveling. Carbon dating of limestone yields inconclusive results. Limestone is difficult to date. Sea level in the region was 300 feet lower during the last ice age, rising to current levels around 10,000 to 8,000 BCE. Parallel formations visible in aerial photos suggest multiple aligned structures. Geologists argue Bimini Road is beach rock, a natural formation where sand and shells cement together in tidal zones. The rectangular patterns result from natural fracturing. As sea levels rose, the formation was submerged, nature imitating architecture. But beach rock fractures irregularly. It doesn't create uniform rectangles aligned in straight lines over 2,000 feet. And the prop stones beneath larger blocks wouldn't occur naturally. Geologist Dr. Greg Little conducted resistivity surveys in 2005, showing the blocks rest on a foundation layer, not natural bedrock. That suggests deliberate construction. If Bimini Road is artificial, it could be a harbor wall built when the area was above sea level around 10 to 12,000 years ago. Edgar Cayce's prediction hangs over the site like a ghost, neither proven nor disproven, just waiting. The floating city built on coral. Imagine sailing across empty ocean for weeks until you reach Pohnpei Island in Micronesia. You anchor offshore and paddle toward the reef. As you approach, massive stone walls rise from the water, nearly 100 artificial islands connected by canals, built from basalt logs weighing up to 50 tons each. No mortar, no wheels, no metal tools. Welcome to Nan Madol, the only ancient city ever built on top of a coral reef. European explorers first saw Nan Madol in the 1820s, but serious study didn't begin until the 1960s. American archaeologist William Ayres led excavations in the 1980s, documenting the construction phases. 92 artificial islands covering 170 acres, outer walls 15 to 25 feet high, some 50 feet thick. Basalt logs ranging from 5 to 25 feet long, weighing 5 to 50 tons each. Estimated total, 750,000 metric tons of basalt transported to the site. The nearest basalt source is across the island or from offshore quarries. Radiocarbon dating places major construction between 1200 and 1600 CE, but oral traditions claim construction by twin sorcerers, Olisipa and Olosopa, possibly thousands of years earlier. No evidence of ramps, levers, or pulleys. The islands are built on submerged coral reef, requiring precise knowledge of tides and foundation engineering. Mainstream archaeology says the Saudeleur dynasty mobilized thousands of laborers over centuries, floating basalt on rafts at high tide, then levering them into place. Polynesian engineering at its peak. But Pohnpei's population couldn't have exceeded a few thousand, mobilizing enough labor to move 750,000 tons would have depopulated the entire island. And the oral traditions are specific. They say the stones flew through the air, moved by magic. Folklore, yes, but folklore that's suspiciously consistent. Could Nan Madol be far older than radiocarbon suggests, built when sea levels were lower? How did builders lift 50-ton stones 25 feet high without mechanical advantage? Why build an entire city on a reef prone to flooding? The foundation Rome couldn't move. The Romans were master builders. Aqueducts, amphitheaters, roads that lasted millennia. They conquered half the known world. But when they arrived at Baalbek in Lebanon's Bekaa Valley to build the Temple of Jupiter in 27 BCE, they found something that stopped them cold. A platform made of stones so massive, so perfectly fitted, that even Rome couldn't explain it. They built their temple on top, but they never moved the foundation. They couldn't. The trilithon, 3 limestone blocks, each 64 feet long, 14 feet high, 12 feet wide. Each weighs approximately 800 tons. Some researchers say 1,200. The blocks fit together so tightly that a knife blade won't slip between them. Half a mile away, in the quarry, lies the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, 1,000 tons, partially cut but never moved. In 2014, they found another one, the Forgotten Stone. Estimated weight, 1,650 tons. Roman construction sits on top, but uses much smaller stones, 10 to 20 tons max. Roman engineering manuals mention nothing capable of moving 800-ton blocks. The platform is raised 25 to 30 feet above ground, requiring lifting, not just dragging. No tool marks, no lever holes, no inscriptions. Construction method? Completely unknown. Mainstream explanations suggest the Romans or earlier Phoenicians used thousands of workers with rollers, levers, and wooden sleds. With unlimited labor, anything's possible over years. But the math doesn't work. Engineers calculate that moving an 800-ton stone on rollers would require 40 to 60,000 workers in perfect coordination. The terrain between quarry and site includes slopes and uneven ground. And if Rome did it, why didn't they brag? Romans documented everything. Trajan's Column, the Colosseum, the Pantheon, all celebrated in stone and text. But Baalbek's foundation? Silence. Could this platform predate all known civilizations in the region? Could it be evidence of capabilities we've yet to recover? The stones stand silent, offering no answers. Stones cut by ghosts. Bolivia, 12,800 feet above sea level. You're holding a stone block from Puma Punku, and something's wrong. The surface is perfectly flat, accurate to within 0.02 of an inch. Drill holes with diameters so uniform they look machine-made. Interlocking angles that fit together like Lego. These aren't rough stones. They're precision-engineered components. Some weigh over 100 tons. They're carved from red sandstone and andesite, one of Earth's hardest rocks. And the people who made them supposedly had no writing, no wheels, and only bronze chisels. Spanish chroniclers in the 1500s saw these stones and wrote that they fill one with wonder. Modern excavations began in the 1960s. What they found defies explanation. Blocks weighing between 130 and 180 tons. The largest discovered, 447 tons. Drilling holes with perfect circular symmetry. Flat surfaces measured with laser levels show tolerances matching modern machining standards. Interlocking H-blocks with mortise and tenon joints carved in 3 dimensions. No chisel marks visible even under microscopes. The nearest andesite quarry is 50 miles away, across Lake Titicaca. How they moved these stones? Unknown. The site shows signs of catastrophic destruction. Massive stones scattered like toys, as if hit by an earthquake or flood. Mainstream archaeology dates construction to 536 to 600 CE, attributing it to the Tiwanaku culture. But here's the problem. Bronze doesn't cut andesite. It's too soft. Engineers have tried to replicate the precision using copper tools and sand. They failed. And if patient labor explains it, why hasn't any other Andean site achieved this level of craftsmanship? Even the Incas 500 years later couldn't match it. Some suggest diamond-tipped drilling, water jet cutting, some lost technique involving vibration or chemistry. What tools created perfect drill holes in one of Earth's hardest stones? Why was the site abandoned in violent destruction? What's good, everybody? Before we continue into today's analysis, I want to know something. Where in the world is my content reaching? Drop a comment below and let me know where you're watching from. What city? What state? What country? I love seeing how far this community stretches, so don't be shy. Represent your location in the comments right now. The city beneath the waves. Ancient Hindu texts describe a golden city built by Lord Krishna. Towering temples, magnificent gates, a thriving port that sank into the sea after Krishna's death. For thousands of years, scholars dismissed it as myth. Then, in 2000, India's National Institute of Ocean Technology was doing pollution surveys off the western coast when their sonar picked up something strange: geometric patterns, 120 feet underwater. Patterns that matched the ancient descriptions almost perfectly. The site is called Dwarka. Between 2000 and 2002, marine archaeologists found submerged stone walls, foundations, building complexes. Acoustic imaging revealed a grid pattern spanning 5 miles. That's not random. That's urban planning. They pulled up artifacts, pottery, beads, fossilized wood, worked stone. A piece of wood from the site was carbon dated to 7500 BCE. Stone anchors matching descriptions of ancient ports, pillars, drainage systems. The Mahabharata, one of India's oldest texts, describes Dwarka in detail. It names the port, describes its construction, and says it was swallowed by the ocean. If it's just a story, it's a story with eerily accurate geological memory. Skeptics argue the formations are beach rock, natural sediment cemented together over time. The artifacts could have been deposited by ocean currents, not from a city. But beach rock doesn't form 90-degree corners. Natural formations don't create symmetrical grids visible across miles. And the text is too specific. It's not vague myth, it's detailed description. If the dates hold, Dwarka is evidence of a pre-Harappan civilization, advanced enough to build organized cities with ports and infrastructure. Its flooding aligns perfectly with the end of the Ice Age, when sea levels rose worldwide. How many other cities are down there, erased because we stopped looking where the coastline used to be? The underwater mystery of Japan. Fast forward to 1987. A dive instructor named Kihachiro Aratake is searching for hammerhead sharks off the coast of Yonaguni Island, Japan. Instead, he finds something impossible. 100 feet below the surface, stone terraces, perfectly straight edges, staircases. The structure stretches 500 feet long and rises 90 feet from the ocean floor. It looks like a monument. It looks man-made, but it's underwater. Marine geologist Masaaki Kimura spent 15 years diving this site, measuring, photographing, documenting. The main structure has 2 parallel megaliths, 90-degree angles, symmetrical steps, flat platforms, stone blocks weighing 1,000 tons, arranged in levels like a pyramid. Here's the issue. If this thing is artificial, it was built above sea level. That means before the Ice Age ended. Sea levels rose 130 to 160 feet between 12,000 and 10,000 years ago. If humans built this, they did it 8,000 years before Japan's known history even starts. Kimura found carvings, animals, symbols etched into horizontal surfaces. He found what looked like quarry marks, tool marks, holes drilled into bedrock. Natural erosion doesn't drill holes. Geologists say it's just sandstone, fractured by waves and earthquakes. Sandstone breaks in straight lines, they argue. It's geology pretending to be archaeology. But geology doesn't explain the symmetry. It doesn't explain identical step heights across multiple terraces. It doesn't explain the roadways connecting different levels, or the stone circled nearby with standing pillars that look like Stonehenge. If Kimura's right, there was a civilization in the Pacific over 10,000 years ago, one that built monuments before the ocean swallowed them whole. How many more are down there, buried under hundreds of feet of water? The mountain that hides a pyramid. Indonesia, 2010. A geologist named Danny Hillman Natuwijaya starts scanning a hill in West Java with ground-penetrating radar. The locals have always considered it sacred. Just another mountain covered in volcanic rocks, right? Wrong. The hill is hollow. Beneath the surface, buried chambers, massive stones, a step pyramid extending 300 feet underground. And the deeper you go, the older it gets. Impossibly old. The site is called Gunung Padang. It's been known since 1914, but nobody took it seriously until radar revealed what was inside. Natuwijaya's findings, published in 2018, triggered an academic firestorm. Layer 1, the surface, 3,500 BCE. Layer 2, buried under soil, 8,000 BCE. Layer 3, deep underground, 12 to 13,000 years ago. Layer 4, the deepest sections, 20 to 22,000 years old. Let that sink in. 22,000 years ago, most humans were painting on cave walls. Radar shows chambers, halls, a pyramid-shaped structure 400 feet tall, built in at least 4 layers. The surface stones are columnar basalt, some weighing over 200 tons. They're not scattered randomly. They're arranged in rows, aligned to the cardinal directions. Core samples pulled up organic material from cement-like substance binding the stones together. Ancient concrete, researchers claim. Critics say it's just a volcanic hill. The dates come from lava flows, not construction. It's a mountain, not a monument. But Natuwijaya's team drilled into what appears to be artificial fill, not bedrock. The radar images show rectangular rooms, not random volcanic caves. And if it's entirely natural, why is it shaped like a pyramid? Why are the rocks laid out in neat terraces? What's inside those chambers? Who built the foundation? And what happened to them? The temple that shouldn't exist. Picture this. You're in the scorching hills of Turkey, roughly 12,000 years ago. Around you, hundreds of people are dragging limestone blocks that weigh as much as 4 elephants. No metal, no wheels, not even a donkey to help. They're building something massive, something sacred. But here's the problem. You don't exist yet, at least not according to history books. In 1994, a German archaeologist named Klaus Schmidt started digging at a place local shepherds wouldn't go near. They thought it was cursed. What he found flipped archaeology upside down. Gobekli Tepe, a temple complex spanning 22 acres carved from stone when humans were supposedly too busy hunting rabbits to think about religion. The site is 11,600 years old. It was built 6,000 years before Stonehenge, 7,000 years before Egypt's pyramids. 20 stone circles, pillars 18 feet tall, each one carved with animals, foxes, scorpions, snakes, vultures. Over 200 carvings, precise as surgery. Here's what terrifies archaeologists. There's no village, no trash, no fire pits. Nobody lived here. It's purely ceremonial. A temple built by people who supposedly hadn't invented civilization yet. 500 workers, maybe more, laboring for decades. That requires leadership, planning, organization, things nomads shouldn't have. And then there's Pillar 43, the Vulture Stone. Researchers think it might depict a comet strike from nearly 13,000 years ago. These builders didn't just stack rocks, they knew the stars. Around 8,000 BCE, someone buried the whole thing. On purpose. Thousands of tons of dirt deliberately piled on top. Were they protecting it or hiding it? What if this isn't where civilization started? What if it's where it ended? The chambers no one remembers. Deep in the forested mountains, between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea, stand over 3,000 stone structures that defy easy explanation. They're called dolmens. Massive stone chambers built from slabs weighing up to 30 tons, fitted together without mortar. Each features a perfectly circular entrance hole, barely wide enough for a human to crawl through. Some archaeologists date them to 4,000 years ago. Others whisper they could be 25,000 years old. Either way, nobody knows who built them or why. Russian archaeologists began cataloging Caucasus dolmens in the 1890s. Major studies in the 1960s through 1980s documented over 2,400 structures. Recent ground-penetrating radar and radiocarbon analysis reignited controversy over their age. Over 3,000 dolmens spanning 7,500 square miles, mostly in remote forests. 4 to 6 massive stone slabs forming rectangular chambers capped with a roof slab weighing 10 to 30 tons. Entrance holes perfectly circular, 1.5 to 2 feet in diameter, often with stone plugs that fit precisely. Mainstream radiocarbon dating of organic material inside yields 4,000 to 2,000 BCE. Alternative researchers claim geological erosion suggests 25,000 to 10,000 BCE. Some dolmens are built into hillsides with only facades visible. Acoustic studies in 2014 showed chambers have resonant frequencies, possible use, sound amplification for rituals. Geographic distribution suggests an organized cultural network spanning over 180 miles. No inscriptions, no tool marks, no known builders. Local indigenous groups have no oral traditions claiming construction. The structures simply exist, older than memory. Mainstream archaeology says Bronze Age cultures built them as burial chambers. The circular entrance allowed ritual access. But Caucasus dolmens don't match European or Korean versions in style or size. If they're 4,000 years old, why do some show extreme weathering, suggesting 10,000 years of exposure? Could the dolmens be remnants of a megalithic culture spanning the Black Sea before the Younger Dryas event? The forest keeps its secrets. The calendar at the beginning of time. You're standing in a circle of stones in the mountains of Mpumalanga Province, South Africa. At first glance, unremarkable. Weathered dolerite rocks in a rough ring. Then you notice the alignment. The stones mark the cardinal directions with precision. They track solstices and equinoxes. They align with Orion's belt rising on the horizon exactly as it did 75,000 years ago. If that date is correct, you're standing in the oldest man-made structure on Earth. Built by anatomically modern humans 50,000 years before Gobekli Tepe, before agriculture, before cities, before history itself. Pilot Johann Hein noticed the stone circle in 2003 while flying over the mountains of Mpumalanga. He contacted researcher Michael Tellinger, who began investigating in 2007. Their findings sparked immediate controversy. The circle measures approximately 100 feet in diameter, composed of dolerite rocks weighing 5 to 10 tons each. Stones aligned to cardinal points with precision. Alignment with sunrise on equinoxes and solstices documented. Orion's belt alignment calculated using precession of the equinoxes, matching horizon position 75,000 years ago. Geological erosion, lichen growth, and weathering patterns estimated at 10,000 to 75,000 years by independent geologists. The site is surrounded by over 10 million stone circle structures across South Africa, visible in aerial and satellite imagery. Nearby stone channels suggest water management. Zulu legends speak of sky gods mining gold in ancient times. Mainstream archaeologists argue alignment is coincidental, stones placed naturally by erosion, or a relatively recent cattle kraal built in the last 500 to 1,000 years. The alignments are cherry-picked coincidences. But cattle kraals don't align to cardinal points. And the erosion analysis, if even partially correct, suggests the stones are far older than any known South African settlement. The sheer number of surrounding structures, 10 million visible from aerial surveys, indicates organized landscape modification on a massive scale. If accurate, it suggests modern humans possessed modern symbolic thought, astronomy, and megalithic construction 75,000 years ago. Could this be ground zero for human civilization? Could the out-of-Africa migration have carried knowledge that seeded every megalithic site that followed? The stones offered no answers, only alignments that shouldn't exist.